Hello, and welcome to another episode. This question was asked by Kinbiko in my Twitch chat, and Kinbiko asks, hey, you put an empty git commit at the beginning of your repositories when you make a new project. Why do you do that? But also, how do you do that? And I guess we'll explain that today. And I guess why you wouldn't always need to do this, because there's newer or better ways to do this without being super confusing. But let's jump into that. Alright, so just to demo what I usually do, and then we'll compare against a repository that doesn't have this set up, let's make a new repository. So we're just going to do git init x, and we'll set up y as well. Y is going to be the one where we don't do an initial root commit. So we'll just cd into that. We can actually cd into y over here. And to make an empty commit in git, this is a commit that doesn't change any files at all. You use git commit. Your message as usual. I usually use empty initial commit if I'm making the initial root commit, and you can use -- allow empty. And this will make a commit that doesn't change anything. Usually git show would show you the diff of the commit, but here there's nothing. And to demo the kind of problem here, let's suppose that I made some files here. So let's touch foo, touch bar. We're going to add both of those files, and this is our true initial commit. And let's say that I started to make some other changes on top of that, so maybe I added, startup pyc to a git ignore, and we add that. But I go back later and I'm like, in my first commit, I want it to be like kind of pristine, I don't want people to know that I forgot my git ignore in my first commit. So I would want to go back and, push those commits together, squash them together, and make it a single initial commit. But let's do the same thing over here. I think I can actually do... Can I cherry pick? No. We'll just do this really quickly. Initial commit, and get... What was it? Startup IC? Git ignore. Add git ignore. Okay. Okay, so we have two very similar setups here. We have an initial commit and we have a git ignore. Now, if I want to squash these two commits together, what I would normally do when I'm working on other stuff is I would use the git chainsaw, aka git rebase -i. And so this is saying I want to rebase interactively on top of this commit, and this is the like key selling point that I have here, is that there isn't really a commit before this one, so there's nothing to rebase on top of. Now there are two ways around that, and we'll look at that in a second. But this is what I would do here. So I'd rebase -i, and I would either use fixup or squash, F being fixup and squash being S. Fixup is like squash, but it discards the commit message and it melds two commits together. So this add git ignore commit will go away and it'll become part of this initial commit. So we let that run. Now you see that we have just one initial commit on top of the empty initial commit. And you can see that that initial commit added two files, foo and bar, and that git ignore all at once. Now if I were to do that over here, it doesn't, there's nothing to rebase on top of, so it doesn't quite work. But there are several ways you can get around this. Does this work? Git rebase -i head caret. No, it does not. Okay. But Git added this -- root, which allows you to rebase on top of the root commit, so you don't have to have an empty initial one. I still do it anyway, because in the moment I always forget about -- root. But if you do this, yeah, you'll still be able to rebase these two together. And so you can, let's do squash in this one so you can see how squash works. Squash gives you a way to combine the two commit messages. So maybe I did initial commit with git ignore or something like that and got rid of the second commit message, something like that. But yeah, that does allow you to change the initial commit. And another thing that you can do if you haven't committed yet is if you had like, Spaz a new file? Yeah. If I wanted to also modify the initial commit, I can use git commit -- amend, and that will modify the existing hook or the existing commit, rewriting its history. And you can see that now we're adding 4 new files here. But anyway, that's why I make an initial np commit, and also why you might not need it or not care. I still do it as a force of habit because I'm more used to my normal workflow with Rebase. But anyway, hope this was helpful, and if you have additional things that you want me to explain, be sure to leave a comment below or reach out to me on Twitter or show up in my Twitch chat, whatever you want to do. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.